it time to make it more difficult for retail investors to put in their money in F&O or futures and options segment of the market? We're asking this question today on the show because of the recent data that SEBI has released on what happens with F&O trading. And some of that number which is coming through is truly startling. For example, 9 out of every 10 investors have made losses in the last 3 financial years. The average loss of F&O investors was 2 lakh rupees. In FY22, losses or the number of investors losing money was 89%. This has increased to 92% in FY24. So essentially the people losing money are only increasing. The daily turnover, remember, meanwhile, in the F&O segment is only improving and increasing by leaps and bounds. It's right now at 5 lakh crore rupees. Now, the question is, what is SEBI going to do about it? Because 3/4 of the investors continue trading despite losses. And the number of retail investors is almost doubled to 2 years from 51 lakhs to 96 lakhs in this segment. Now, we very often talk about this in terms of statistics. These are numbers. Retail investors are out there somewhere trading, but they are real people. Today on the show, we want to bring you some of those voices and those stories of real people who've invested, are losing money, and we'll ask them if they're going to continue putting in money in F&O segment, because these are not necessarily people who've been trading in the markets for years, some very sophisticated investors out there. These are regular people who are putting in their hard-earned money. Let's hear their stories. Om Prakash Singh joins us. He's a teacher in Bihar. He's lost around 1 lakh rupees. He's talking to us today. I'm speaking today with Rajan Bharti, who's preparing for a competitive exam. He's joining us from Delhi. He's also lost around 1 lakh rupees. आप दोनों का स्वागत है. बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए चैनल पर और आपका जो स्टोरी है वो बताने के लिए. ओम प्रकाश सिंह जी, पहले मैं आपके पास आती हूँ. आप बताइए कि आप F&O ट्रेडिंग में कैसे आए और आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा, आपके क्या लॉसेस रहे हैं?
मैडम, स्टार्टिंग में मुझे शेयर मार्केट के बारे में कुछ भी नॉलेज नहीं था. तो कोरोना के समय एक बार मेरे पास कॉल आया कि आप पैसा कमाना चाहते हैं. हमने कहा श्योर, हम कमाना चाहते हैं. और हमने 2, 3, 4, 5 दिनों में अकाउंट खुलवा लिया. और खुलवाने के बाद हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं था कि F&O क्या होता है, इक्विटी क्या होता है.
आपको किसने कॉल किया था ओम प्रकाश जी? कहाँ से फोन आया था?
उस समय मोतीलाल ओसवाल से फोन आया था मेरे पास.
अच्छा,
मोतीलाल ओसवाल से फोन आया. स्टार्टिंग में मुझे समझ नहीं थी कि क्या F&O होता है. और F&O में हमने 50,000 रुपया डाल दिया. जो मैंने लाइफ टाइम की मेरी सेविंग थी, सारा पैसा डाल दिया. और मात्र 3 से 4 दिनों में सारा पैसा मेरा डूब गया.
लेकिन
ये आज से 2 साल पहले की कहानी है.
और फिर आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट करना रोक दिया
ना. उसके बाद फिर 6 महीने के बाद हमने फिर इक्विटी में पैसा डालना शुरू किया. तो इक्विटी में भी पैसा अर्निंग हो नहीं पा रहा था. हम उसको जितना लॉस हमारा हुआ था वो पैसा हम रिकवर नहीं कर पा रहे थे. तो एक बार मेरे पास और चॉइस ब्रोकिंग का नंबर आता है. चॉइस ब्रोकिंग से कॉल आता है मेरे पास.
अच्छा, तो उन्होंने क्या कहा?
कि आपका जो पैसा लॉस हुआ है 50,000, उसको हम रिकवर कराएंगे. और हम भी बिहार के रहने वाले, आपके जिले के रहने वाले हैं. हमें भरोसा नहीं हो रहा था. लेकिन एक हफ्ते 10-15 दिन फोन करके हमें पूरा मोटिवेट कर दिया उन्होंने. और फिर उनके कहने पर फिर मैंने 50,000 रुपया लगा दिए. और 50,000 रुपये हमने कमाए भी. कभी 5,000 कमाया, कभी 10,000 कमाया, कभी 15,000 कमाया, कभी 20,000 कमाया. लेकिन फाइनली 4 से 5 दिनों में वो 50,000 भी चला गया.
तो आपको ये सारे जो फोन आए, किसी ने आपको सिखाया कि इसमें करना क्या है एग्जैक्टली?
ना, शुरू में बताते थे. जब कॉल करते थे कि आपको पूरा प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग दी जाएगी, कैसे कॉल करना है, क्या कब खरीदना है, कब ऊपर जाएगा, कब नीचे जाएगा. लेकिन जब अकाउंट खुल जाता था तो डायरेक्ट हमसे करवाना शुरू कर देते थे. तो ऐसा भी होता था कि मुझसे पासवर्ड भी ले लेते थे. कहते थे आपको अभी सीखना पड़ेगा, पहले हम आपके बिहाफ पे करते हैं. तो इस तरह से मेरा पैसा चला गया.
राजन भारती, आप अपना बताइए किस्सा. आप पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, यू आर स्टडीइंग इन दिल्ली. हाउ डिड यू गेट इनटू दिस? व्हाट हैज बीन योर एक्सपीरियंस?
लगभग पिछले 2 साल हो गए, 2 साल नहीं, 1.5 साल ही मान के चलिए। 1.5 साल पहले मैंने ट्रेडिंग स्टार्ट किया था। अभी तो मतलब ज्यादा फोकस नहीं हो पा रहे ट्रेडिंग पे, बट जब मैंने स्टार्ट किया था तो कुछ चीजें होती है ना, सोशल मीडिया आजकल बहुत ज्यादा मतलब एक्सपोज दिखाया जाता है कि मैंने इतना प्रॉफिट कर लिया, मैं इतना डाल के इतना पैसा कमा लिया, है ना। तो चीजें क्या होती है कि लोग दौड़े चले आते हैं सोशल मीडिया को देख के, जैसे किसी ने स्क्रीनशॉट डाल दिया, है ना, और उसके लालच में आ गई, चलो भैया हमें भी तो करना है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो है ये इतना कमा सकता है तो मेरे पास तो इतना है, मैं इतना डाल के मैं इतना कमा लूंगा, है ना। तो ये लालच हमें मतलब इस तरफ अट्रैक्ट करते हुए इसमें डाल दिया। तो मैंने भी अकाउंट खोला, अकाउंट खोलते ही मैंने पहले 10,000 रुपए डाला। 10,000 डालते वो मान के चलिए कि 3-4 दिन में खत्म, लॉस में चला गया। और मैंने शुरुआत किया एफएनओ से। मैं पहले थोड़ा सा स्टडी किया कि एफएनओ होता क्या है, फिर उसके बाद से कैसे क्या पैसा कहाँ इन्वेस्ट करना है, तो मैंने लगाया, खुद से ही करना शुरू किया। फिर वो मैं सोचा कि चलो सीख रहा हूँ तो लॉस हो रहा है तो कोई बात नहीं, है ना। फिर मैंने जैसे ही 10,000 रुपये खत्म हुआ, फिर मैं 10,000 डाल दिया, फिर खत्म। वो मतलब अगले 2-3 दिन में वो भी खत्म, है ना। फिर मैंने 50,000 रुपये डाला। 50,000 रुपये डालने के बाद उस समय पे क्या हुआ कि एक दिन में ऐसा हुआ कि एक्सपायरी का था, फिर निफ्टी का एक्सपायरी चल रहा था मंगलवार को, जैसे कि आज है, आज एक्सपायरी था। तो इसी समय पे मैंने उसमें दूर का कॉल ले लिया और वो जाके जीरो हो गया। तो मेरे को पता ही नहीं था कि वो जीरो भी होता है।
राजन जी, आपने 10,000 गवाए, फिर से 10,000 गवाए, फिर 50,000 फिर से लगा दिए।
हाँ, फिर से कि चलो अभी तो लॉस हो, मैं तो सीख रहा हूँ, कुछ तो सीख गया हूँ, है ना। फिर लगाते हैं, क्या पता वो आ जाएगा। एक लालच होता है ना मन में, क्या होता है कि मैंने जो लॉस किया है उसको रिकवर कर लूं। अब रिकवर के चक्कर में वो पैसा चल जाते गया जाते गया। फिर बाद में रियलाइज हुआ कि नहीं, जो भी चीजें हैं उसको रिकवर के चक्कर में नहीं करना है, हमें एक सिमेट्रिक ढंग से सीखना है। तो मैंने सीखने पे भी फोकस किया, कुछ मतलब इधर उधर जो मेरे दोस्त हैं इन्वेस्ट करते हैं उनसे मैंने बात किया कि कैसे क्या होता है। तो थोड़ा थोड़ा जानकारी लेते लेते तो मैं उस समय संभल गया, मैं फिर पैसा डालना छोड़ दिया, पेपर ट्रेडिंग करने लगा।
तो अब ओम प्रकाश जी, आप फिर से लगाएंगे इसमें पैसा? आप ये लॉस के बाद क्या आगे का क्या है प्लानिंग? क्योंकि ऐसे क्या लोग हैं जिनको आप जानते हैं जिन्होंने खूब पैसा बनाया है, या आप ऐसे पोस्ट देखते हैं, आगे आपको इसके बारे में क्या लग रहा है?
अब जीवन में कभी भी हम फ्यूचर ऑप्शन में पैसा नहीं लगाएंगे, और जो भी ऐसा पैसा लगाता है उसको मना करेंगे। और मेरे जानने वाले कई ऐसे लोग भी हैं जिनका 15 से 20 लाख रुपए डूब गया है, किसी का 50 लाख तक डूब गया है। मेरे मतलब करीबी लोग हैं, दोस्त लोग हैं।
और ओम प्रकाश जी एक बात बहुत शानदार बताई इनके कि जैसे कि इनके पास कॉल आता है, वो जैसे ही आप किसी भी प्लेटफॉर्म पे लॉग इन करते हैं, जैसे कोई भी प्लेटफॉर्म हो गया, धन हो गया, जीरोधा हो गया, एंजल हो गया, कोई भी लॉग इन करते ही आपका जो है ना डेटा, वो पता नहीं कैसे चला जाता है उन लोगों के पास, और आपके पास कॉल आना शुरू हो जाता है। और वो लोग कॉल करके बोलते हैं कि आप इसमें इन्वेस्ट कीजिए, मैं आपको गाइड करूंगा, आप इतना पैसा लगाएंगे तो मैं रोज का इतना परसेंटेज आपको बना के दूंगा। ऐसे करने के बाद से लोग, कई लोग तो समझदार होते हैं वो नहीं फंसते हैं, लेकिन जो थोड़ा सा मासूम होते हैं ना वो फंस जाते हैं।
तो आप मासूम थे राजन जी, आप मासूम थे?
मैं तो, मेरे पास तो कॉल आया तो मैं तो किसी को दिया नहीं, मैं मासूम नहीं था, मैं बहुत
अच्छा, आपने सोशल मीडिया पे देखा। नहीं, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया ओम प्रकाश जी एंड राजन जी। आप लोग इन्वेस्ट करते रहिए, पूरी जानकारी लेकर, लेकिन इन्वेस्ट करें। ये बात ज़रूरी है कि जो समझ में आता है वो करें। इन्वेस्टर के लिए कई सारे ऑप्शन हैं, म्यूचुअल फंड का ऑप्शन है, डायरेक्ट इक्विटी का ऑप्शन है, तो वो एक ज़रूरी बात है। लेकिन आपने अपनी स्टोरी शेयर की हमारे साथ, उसके लिए आपका बहुत शुक्रिया। These were two investors that we spoke to, Om Prakash Singh and Rajan Bharti, and frankly there are scores of them. There are too many to even count. Let me get now into the conversation. Sunil Subramaniam, Ajay Bagga, both market veterans, Rajesh Palvia, who is SVP TND at Axis Securities, regular feature on our shows as well. And thank you to all of you for your patience and letting us talk first to the people who are actually hit. Mr. Baka, let me start with you. A few things that were learning for me. That these are people who are looking not necessarily just to make a quick buck, but looking to ride a wave which is very much there. They are sold success stories.
Things don't change, Tamanna. In 1991, there was an LC Gupta report. And not too many of the market people today were born when we were reading that report. And that was basically post the US 64, how 11% of Indian household savings had gone into the equity markets. And what they found, Tamanna, that people were coming directly into equities. At that time, derivatives were not there in India. It was a very archaic way of telephone-based orders or going to the broker's office. And still, people were coming directly, losing their pant and shirt, swearing off equities forever, and staying with fixed deposits and LIC products for the rest of their lives. We are seeing the same game play. Now it has become more gamified. It's become like a video game. Only thing is, it's causing suicides. It's causing financial distress. It's causing this huge amount of loss to the Indian retail investor of 1,90,000 crores plus over 3 years. So the story is the same. The basics are still the same. And the drivers of it are very similar. Access is easy with the Wi-Fi and the internet revolution and the app-based revolution and zero commissions. Access has become very easy, and people are getting caught up. And if you see SEBI's report, one interesting thing, most of the new traders are below 30 years, and they are from the non-top cities. So it's reaching Mufassil India, it's reaching tier 2, tier 3, for whom a lifetime Sunil Subramaniam spent in trying to get mutual funds into their wallets, and now they have reached, the F&O trading has reached on its own.
No, because it takes too long. It takes too long to build a lifetime and put an SIP. And I was looking at some of the commentary on that report as well. Sunil Subramaniam, I'll come to you on that. And that's the simple thing. People don't have the patience for an SIP. And I actually still have Om Prakash and Rajan with me. I'm going to come back and ask them that why did they not think of an SIP? We'll get that view as well. But let me just get a take from Sunil Subramaniam.
See, I agree largely with what Ajay was saying, but there's a subtle new dimension to this. And I would encourage Tamanna, us not to use the word investor for these people. Their intention is not to invest, that is, sow the seed and reap the fruits of the tree that grows. Their intention is to make a quick buck. And this comes more from a gambling instinct than from a wealth creation instinct. And when you then look at gambling, and from a childhood, in my families and all, we have played Teen Patti, and you've seen other players play. The person who loses actually takes bigger and bigger bets. It's a typical gambling way of thinking that when you lose money,
with all due respect,
more.
With all due respect, Mr. Subramaniam, you're likening it to gambling. Maybe that instinct is there. I don't know how Om Prakash ji and Rajan ji feel about it, but gambling is banned in this country. You have not banned this. You have made it very easy for me. You're taking taxes from me. I'm paying fees for this. It's happening at a click of a button. So today, to say every investor is a gambler, it's much easier to do this. Or every F&O investor is a gambler.
No, Tamanna, please separate mutual fund investors, equity market
F&O investor.
F&Os are not investors. They are out to make a quick buck. Their thought process is like a gambler. The day we look at these as gamblers, you will understand their psyche, and you'll realize that, for example, in Singapore, in gambling houses, they track the people and prevent them from coming afresh to the gambling houses. Ajay will bear this out for me. And you got to treat these people. They want to make a quick buck. That's their intention. They are not investors by any stretch of imagination. And all the education that the mutual fund industry has done through mutual fund Sahi Hai, and all of that is going beyond their ears, above their heads. because they are not by nature. And the second thing, which is where I agree partly with Ajay, is the fact that today alternative sources, a bank deposit barely meets the inflation.
Yeah.
So you can't see when he puts where's the alternative to put the money in. So this comes from a get rich quick mindset. And one section of these, and you look at the Dream 11 and other lottery like of things on the games, right? How many subscribers come there, which is 3 times the mutual fund industry's investors.
Okay,
You take the
I'm
stock
just
market.
going to get Rajan's view on that. Rajan Bharti जी, आपने सुना सुनील सुब्रमण्यम ने क्या कहा कि आप लोग म्यूचुअल फंड में पैसा लगाइए, ये गैम्बलिंग सट्टे की प्रवृत्ति से आप लोग आते हैं एफएनओ में, इस पर क्या कहना है आपका?
जी जी, तो ये कई सारी चीजें जो होती है ना, ये डिपेंड करती है, जैसे कि आप किसी भी चीज को देखते हैं ना तो प्रभावित तो होते हैं। कोई भी चीज अगर आप देखेंगे, सोशल मीडिया हो गया या कुछ भी हो गया, अगर आसपास की चीजों को आप देखते हैं तो उससे प्रभावित होते हैं। तो हमने देखा, हमें तो मालूम नहीं है कि इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए या ये करना चाहिए।
आपने कभी नहीं सुना कि एसआईपी लगाना चाहिए और आप एसआईपी डालिए?
मैं तो अब सुन लिया हूँ, जब मैं इन्वेस्ट करना शुरू किया था या पैसे डालना, जैसे कि सुब्रमण्यम जी, सॉरी फॉर द प्रोनाउंसिएशन, बट आपका जो भी नाम है, जो भी ये बता रहे हैं बहुत अच्छा बता रहे हैं कि लोग माइंडसेट ये लेके आते हैं कि पैसा हमें क्विक चाहिए, पैसा हमें तुरंत चाहिए। जैसे मैंने आज 10,000 रुपया डाला, कल मुझे 20,000 रुपया चाहिए, तो ऐसे तो जाएगा ही, पैसा जाएगा, बिल्कुल जाएगा। भले ही आपको शुरुआती दौर में समझ में ना आए, पैसा चले जाने के बाद में समझ में आएगा, लेकिन ये आएगा। जब तक आपका कुआं खाली नहीं हो जाएगा ना, तब तक पता नहीं चलेगा। आप एक माइंडसेट लेके आए कि अगर आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट के फील्ड में आना है, ट्रेडिंग के फील्ड में आना है, तो आपको सीखना होगा और पेशेंस रखना होगा, है ना? तुरंत कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला है।
चलो, ग्रेट लेसन दैट राजन has learned. राजेश पालविया, is it time to curb the retail investor from coming into F&O? Let's get to the point. The theoretical debate can go on. What next? There's a SEBI board meet at the end of this month. There might be some proposals. You're in the midst and the thick of this space. You understand it very well. You've heard from the investors. You've heard from mutual fund veteran. You've heard from investment veteran. Time to curb it. Either if you understand F&O, then you do it.
Definitely, until unless you don't understand the F&O market, I think one should be restricted to participate in the F&O market. I think at the time of account opening, there is some risk profiling and some information we always gather when any new client enroll himself or either on the trader or investor. That clearly define his risk profile as well as the understanding on the market. If you are mentioning all wrong information at the time of your KYC, I think then that's the journey starts to losing the money because
Rajesh, sorry. Apologies for interrupting. You heard these two people. This doesn't seem to be a wrong KYC start to the journey. This seems to be aggressive calls made to these people, or at least one of the persons we spoke to, and saying, please come on board. There doesn't seem to have been any intent to profile the risk appetite of the customer.
Yeah, definitely. So they got a call because they don't know about the equity market, and they got the call and they influenced by the conversation during phone or through social media, and then they opened their account and they started their trading activity. But again, there is some things which one needs to understand before putting their money, because F&O is not a simple thing, because it requires lot many understanding on the market, because there is a time value of any of the trades which you are taking. So it's not a long-term investment. You have to predict the market, and then it has to be executed in the time frame which you are deciding, like weekly options, because the day-to-day.
So my question to you, sir, is so what do we do? Is it time to stop this? Because there are too many people. If 93% of those investing in the last 3 years are making losses, and 3/4 of them after making losses come back, we just heard 2 people. We don't even have the space and time to put on all the people who've written into us. We've heard from 2 people who've said, okay, they tried once, they tried a second time, one of them tried a third time. And then now, abhi kaan pakad liya hai.
Yeah. These 2 stories are clearly saying that most of the stories will be similar to these only, and the people who are losing the money will be like these 2 guys only. I think there has to be some curve. there has to be some, I think there has to be some exam or something has to be there, whether to judge the understanding on the market, then only they should be allowed to, participate in F&O market.
Let me ask the tricky question to Ajay Bagga. We'll get the investors to do the exam. What about the ones soliciting their business on the other side of the phone? And I'm not mentioning any one company or etc. But clearly, people are reaching out to them, and the ones reaching out maybe don't really care whether they know or understand the risk or not.
Yeah. No, Tamanna, my thinking is a little more, I would say long term. If you suppress this will go underground. It will become dabba trading. Every day you see those Ponzi schemes, 2,000 crores, 10,000 crores. People are catching similar profile people for this.
Hello?
At least this is
एक
coming
मिनट
in.
ओम प्रकाश जी, एक मिनट, मैं आ रही हूँ आपके पास. इनकी बात सुन लेते हैं, फिर मैं आ रही हूँ आपके पास. Yes, Mr. Bagga.
At least this is coming in a regulated market. We are coming to know about it and we can take action on this. If you now stop the entry of such people into such markets, you're going to push them into the dabba trading, into the unorganized trading, into the Ponzi schemes, which are also proliferating. And no matter how strong the regulator, it will keep on happening because these people are ahead of the regulator. So I think the issue has to be the product design. You can't have weekly expiries the way you have to have products which meet a need. Derivatives started for institutional investors to hedge their exposure. Now you've made it a game, you've made it a gamble, you've made it speculation, and you've opened it to anybody and everybody. You can have a net worth criteria, you can have an age criteria, you can have some other criteria. But if you are too harsh on this, what the SEBI paper is talking about, they will drive this into double
Okay. Om
trading.
Om
You will
Prakash
lose
ji,
the tax revenue also.
tax revenue, but it's coming at a huge cost. Okay, Om Prakash ji, आप बोलना चाह रहे थे, इसमें क्या इसको बंद करा देना चाहिए?
नहीं, if you invest 20,000 rupees and you have opportunity to earn 2,000, 3,000 every day, तो कौन इसको लूज करना चाहेगा? तो मुझे भी यही कहा गया था कि आप 20,000 रुपया केवल डालिए, 2 से 3,000 रुपया प्रतिदिन आप कमाएंगे. बस यही एक चीज है जो व्यक्ति को मजबूर कर देती है एफएनओ में आने के लिए. और इसी वजह से हमारा पैसा गया.
तो आप क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं? तो इसमें किसको आपको जिम्मेदार ठहराना चाहिए?
इसमें जितने भी कॉल आते हैं, जिस तरह से लोगों को गुमराह करते हैं, सही जानकारी नहीं देते हैं, और आज भी हम आपको सच बताएं तो दिन भर में कम से कम 8 से 10 कॉल आज भी हमें आ जाते हैं मेरे पास
कि आप एफएनओ कीजिए.
हाँ, एफएनओ कीजिए, आप यहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट कीजिए, सारा पैसा रिकवर हो जाएगा. तो ये आज भी पूरा खेल चल रहा है.
तो आपने इस सब के बाद एसआईपी शुरू किया है कि नहीं म्यूचुअल फंड में?
इक्विटी में पैसा डाल रहे हैं.
तो एसआईपी क्यों नहीं डालते हैं? उसमें एक्सपर्ट आपका पैसा इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, आपको चिंता ही नहीं करनी है.
नहीं, एसआईपी इसलिए नहीं करते कि मेरा पैसा इतना सारा लॉस हो गया है. हम चाहते हैं कि इक्विटी के जरिए उसको रिकवर करें, और धीरे धीरे उसको सीख भी रहे हैं इक्विटी. हम चाहते हैं कि जितने भी लोग हैं जो एफएनओ में जा रहे हैं या जाना चाहते हैं, उन्हें स्विच करना चाहिए. इक्विटी बेस्ड ऑप्शन है, या फिर एसआईपी फिर करें.
Sunil Subramaniam, you want to respond to that?
Exactly what I was saying, Tamanna. This is a gambler's instinct. He wants to use equities to recover the losses he's made in F&O by putting more money. Does he know that equities are as risky as F&O? If you're just going to do speculative trading of buying a stock and selling a stock intraday, one day, buy now, book later. See, this is the mentality which is that we got to curb it. And financial education, investor awareness education, that's the bottom of it. That's a long term. But I think the other aspect, and what Ambarokash clearly mentioned here, is that we need discipline among the selling community. There's a huge amount of mis-selling happening here.
He does investments for long term. He does do investment for long term, he is saying. Okay, my question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not intraday. Not intraday.
नहीं, सही बात है.
Not buy today, sell tomorrow. Only for long term investment.
बढ़िया है.
I think according to my experience, there is no loss if you do equity for long investment.
Sir, equity is also subject to market risk, like mutual funds. वो market है, वो एक तो ये market है, वो सबसे बड़ी बात. But सुनिए Subramaniam, last question to you because I've run out of time. Is it time for SEBI to do something? We keep talking about something should be done. Who has to do it and what is it?
I think two people have to do it. I think the broking community has to self-regulate themselves, put in a self-discipline process on how you go about. When the calls are done, how do you do? Do you promise guaranteed returns? Do you say quick money? How do you do? I think the self-discipline is step number one. And if they don't do that, then I fear that SEBI will step in very harshly and put down strong mis-selling related penalties and punishments. And I think that's the only way this will go forward. So I think these two players, I think this and the fin influencers, who are the ones who are showcasing these kind of returns.
Yeah.
Right? I think SEBI is already aware of it. So I think that SEBI is already acting on the fin influencers side multiply. They will double those steps according to me. But in the broking community, this is largely institutional brokers coming from good corporate houses, right? So I think the self-discipline is important, demonstrated in the public domain that we will take these actions like a FEDI does in the banking space, or an AMC does in the mutual fund. I think the broking community has to take
for one, stop incentivizing signing on more people who don't know what they're doing. The 1 lakh rupees that they have lost means a lot to them. It's just not fair. So someone will have to step in, and I mean, pointing at the retail investor every time and saying that, too bad, they made a bad decision, when there's an environment which is encouraging it to this extent, perhaps is not fair either. But nevertheless, a lot to discuss, a lot to digest after this excellent conversation with all of you. Thank you so much. Bahut shukriya Om Prakash ji, Rajan ji, Rajesh, Sunil, Ajay. Great to have you on as always. We'll wait and watch, really, just to wrap up on the big story. We'll wait and watch and see what action really SEBI is taking. Will we just see one more report? Next year we'll see another report talking about losses, again in the high 90s segment. Yes, we know most make losses. Does it deter from more coming in? Clearly not. That's all the time we have on The Big Story. Thank you so much for watching.